Bit, we're in it.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the session. This is, I am Coach Michael J. Fitz. Welcome on in. We have a tremendous day for you. We have a tremendous episode here for you. I'm an infidelity recovery specialist, if you didn't know. And this is,
Yep, this is Thomas Isaac Castro. You guys welcome in, creator of the Shine Campus, California licensed marriage family therapist. Man, here to love on you guys today. I hope everybody's having a good week. I'm kind of enjoying the morning times fit. I love that we switched to the morning times. Last week, our participation was amazing. That we got in. I appreciate everybody who asked questions and was able to get in. Before I forget, I am gonna pop in our link to our private session next week that we'll have so that everybody gets that. Um, so now that you guys have that, you can sign up there, you register there, and then you'll be able to join our private session. Um, you'll receive an email confirmation back. If you don't receive that email, you might have done something wrong or entered your email incorrectly because it comes to you, and then you have a button for the following week to be able to join us while we go on and get into a private session to help you with the rest of being able to forgive. So basically, a forgiveness circle. So I'm excited and looking forward to that. Our topic for
yeah,
today is just to be able to create forgiveness as a daily practice. And
love
man,
it.
before we get into our topic, what's been going on with you this week?
Oh, man, what hasn't been going on? You know, uh, I've been getting into more of getting deeper into my meditations.
Okay.
And when I do meditations, I mean, it's a mixture of what I do in those. But I did my first 1 hour meditation where I woke up and I was just in that meditation for an hour straight. And it's pretty wild because I thought it was maybe about 25, 30 minutes. When I came out of it, an hour had passed. And
Oh,
so that's what I do when I first wake up or when I'm going to bed.
mhm.
But I'm excited because this weekend I'm going to try my first in the middle of the day 1 hour meditation when I'm fully awake, in an alpha state,
Okay.
and do it then. But
Okay.
that's kind of what I've been excited about lately.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing like turning ourselves into projects of just like getting better and trying on new experiences to help kind of take us to a different place. And we're helpers. So, like, because we're helpers, everything that we grow inside of ourselves, people bear those fruits, right? Right. If I'm becoming a better peach tree, people get better peaches. That's just how it works. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about that. And let me know how that goes with you. Hey, so talking about forgiveness and being able to forgive, I feel like the one thing I think that always gets misinterpreted about forgiveness is forgiving also gets mixed up with us letting go of or giving people permission to like hurt us,
Yep.
and I think a lot of times people think if I forgive them, then I don't get to punish them anymore. Nobody will say those words, but that's just kind of like the sense is like I won't. How do I punish that person if I forgive them? If I say it's okay or I'm okay, then they don't get punished. They need to see that I'm hurting. They need to somehow experience something. And so I feel like we need to understand that forgiveness is more something that we exercise, and just like how we built the Shine Campus, a concept of a gym idea, not like a doctor, but like a gym where you got to constantly go and build and get stronger. Forgiveness is one of those things that you go and really try to like build up. And the more you can operate um, on forgiveness and the quicker that it can happen, the better in shape you'll be in reaction to the things that happen in this world, to you or against you or around you, right? So I feel like it's really important for us to recognize that forgiveness is something like a muscle more than it is like a thing that you do.
Yeah, exactly. You build upon it. It's not like something that just happens instantly. It's something we work towards.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a destination. It can be a destination, right? But looking at that destination and going, there's just no one magical day,
Right.
right? And we're going to get there. And when we get there, maybe it doesn't always mean that, we may have a little bit of resentment may pop up that day. Maybe something happens that day where
Mhm.
it pops up, but we've conditioned ourselves to forgive at that point, and we've forgiven already so much as to where, something may pop up, but we just manage it so swiftly.
Right, right. And I think what everybody should know about forgiveness is that on the other side of that, there's a real freedom. So why forgive? Like that person hurt me, and so they don't need to be forgiven. And it's really not about what they need. Matter of fact, they accidentally pull you back into the triangle, which is victim, perpetrator, rescuer. Right? When you're not able to forgive, you're not free. You stay in that triangle because either you become a victim, you become a perpetrator, you become a rescuer, you become something else in that triangle, and you must do that role. Whereas if you're able to forgive, it's really about you creating a practice of or experience of freedom for yourself. And that's the sneaky part, is this is not about somebody else. It's not about what somebody else gets because you are. It's more about what you're giving yourself because you are. And I love that, as perspective for moving forward when we're discussing forgiveness. And so actually one of our listeners sent in something that says, I thought I forgave them, but something small brought it all back. Why do I still feel the same pain? Why do you think they still feel the same pain?
Because it's like the past is repeating itself.
Mhm,
All of the same automatic thoughts and emotions will pop up. And so it's almost like, well, great, here it goes again. And
mhm,
so a different kind of resentment builds that uh, I took all this time to forgive you, and then now this is
mhm,
now something else I gotta, forgive about or deal with now. So then it
mhm.
can be some kind of different resentment at that point too.
Yeah. And remember, we talked last week, somebody was asking about books, and we said the body keeps score. The body remembers everything. I mean, you cannot even consciously remember it, but the body remembers everything:
Mhm.
smells, taste, sight. Like it remembers all those things. And so I like to say it like a Rolodex for those of us who are a little bit older and can remember that there used to be these things that had a knob on them, and they would spin, and they had cards inside of them that had like phone numbers. And so it had letters, and then behind each letter was a card of like somebody's business card or name or something like that. So you'd spin to the letter. Let's say that you want somebody with the last name Big. All right. So you go to B, and everything behind B, not just the letter big, but or not just the word big, but everything behind B would come up for you. Right. It's the same thing with our memory, and the way that our mind works is that something happens, your body just automatically rolodexes to that same experience, and then it brings up everything. Now that's super useful when we're driving a car, right? Because I don't
Mhm.
have to think about how do I press the gas, right? I just know it's time to go, and then automatically it goes, right? But it's less useful when we've been hurt and had to experience that. And so a lot of times it could sometimes be, and I'll say this to the question asker, it could sometimes be something that means I haven't forgiven, but a lot of times it's just the body memory that says like, look, here's a new version of that same experience, and be alarmed, right? So the idea is we're not broken because of that. If somebody says, look, I still feel the same pain, yes, that's your body warning you or trying to let you know that, hey, this could be something you need to be cautious about. And so it's actually an amazing thing that we have, that things automatically still come up. And we don't have to get upset about that. That's part of us being hurt or having that experience. What's on your mind about that, Fit? I see your mind just turning and ready to
Hmm.
go. I see it. I know you got something for me.
I
I
mean,
love
well, that's just the thing.
it. Mhm,
Where to take it, there's just so many places to take it. And so when we get those like what triggers or
mhm,
intrusive thoughts, right, though, that feeling, right, it all comes up, those automatic, it's all programmed into us, right? I like to think of them as suggestions. They're
mhm,
your brain and body just presenting a suggestion to us. And like you said, it's pretty cool because
mhm,
it's our brain and body are designed to protect us, to raise our awareness and stress levels in those moments to protect ourselves in some ways.
mhm,
If we are on a healing journey, or we are beginning to find our peace within, then that is when we begin to gain control of those intrusive thoughts or feelings or triggers or whatever they are coming up, and then redirect,
Yeah.
and shine that forgiveness on in there each and
Yeah.
every time. And then our body begins to learn a new program, a new system. And so, as I like to put it, it's put in manually at first until it becomes automatic.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's part of what we have to do. Actually, we're going to talk about in breaking the pattern is like is us being able to know that forgiveness is a process and it's not just like one moment. So, and I think our question from our listener helps us to kind of realize that is like um, you could say for I forgive, and then there's still a process that needs to happen. So again, we need to turn it into an exercise of being. And part of that is, and we talked about this in our resentment conversation that we had a couple of weeks ago, which is our heart kind of just gets covered with stone, right? And as our heart gets covered with stone, it makes us not give out love, and it keeps us from receiving love. And that disconnect that happens really builds and wears on the relationship. Whereas if we're forgiving and we're a lot softer, we're able to remove that stone, everything kind of changes for us. So in this next few minutes, if we can look at being able to break the pattern of not forgiving by creating a softer way of being. And so I'll throw out the first question to you, Fit, which is um, what do you say to someone who thinks forgiveness is a weakness?
You're right. If
Hmm.
that's what you think, you're absolutely right.
Hmm.
If but because that's just another way of protecting yourself.
Hmm.
Now that's a weakness,
Yeah.
right? So that is the story that you say to yourself, and you're right, because you know that it's going to make you vulnerable,
Hmm.
right? And so then you resist it, and you create that story because maybe at that time you are not ready to forgive.
Yeah. 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 It's interesting that all the shapings that we get about forgiveness and how to do relationships and all the things that are built out of other people's hurt. Right. And so a lot of times we grow up with these different messages and or we at some point in time get these different messages that shape us into constantly doing this, keeping
Mhm.
ourselves from hurting, or constantly doing this, right? And so we get all these messages in the relationship. And so for some reason, we accidentally develop this idea that like, man, forgiveness is a weakness. And I'll say to our audience in general, and I hope maybe we can clip this at some point in time, but um, everything that moves you to a higher place as a being or as a person or in your relationships are all strengths. No matter what you've been told in your life, everything that moves you to a better place long term is a strength. And forgiveness is one of those things that creates freedom. Then the things, and so the opposite of that is all the things that try to punish other people to make them behave different so that you can be better or so that they can be better for you. Those are the things that actually make you weak. And so it's sad that we kind of flip that where we're trying to train people with our anger and our frustration and how we treat them. And like, I'm not talking to you because you just were this way to me. Right. Or I'm gonna withhold affection because you were this way to me. Right. So we do all these things. I'm gonna withhold forgiveness because you did this, just so we can try to shape them. Meanwhile, we're becoming somebody that we don't even want to be. We're not even being somebody that we want to be with at that point in time. And so um, I would want that person to really review where they have that definition, where it comes from for them, and then think with the end in mind and long term, which is actually what am I trying to create in my relationship? So even if forgiveness is a weakness, will it get me to the place that I want to be in the relationship? If not, don't do it. If it does, though, or if you can sense that it gives you freedom and an ability to be different in your relationship, then that's your pursuit. Right. The next question is how can forgiveness be both healing and protective? And we've kind of alluded to this a little bit, but how can forgiveness be both healing and protective to us? And I'll go first on this. I think that we're already kind of showing, or talking a little bit about like how that happens. But the healing aspect of it is you don't have to carry so much around. It's super heavy, and I've been mad before in relationship, and it's hard to do, like, the silent ignoring thing,
Mhm.
for a while. One of my favorite parts is, uh, of, um, of having a hard time in a relationship is the part when you get to, with your partner, especially if both of you guys are doing your work, where you get to your partner like, "This is dumb that we're even arguing over this or we're having this fight." And you could laugh about the ways that you did the things, right? Like,
Yeah.
"You said this yesterday, like, what were you thinking?" Like, we both know that's not gonna happen, right? And so, um us being able to forgive allows us to get to those places. Like that's kind of like the joy of relationship where you're like, we're really not fighting over that thing. We know what it is. And so forgiveness gives you the ability to see somebody different and not have that constant walk around of angst that's heavy for you. And that you have to go to work with and you have to interact with everybody else with. Meanwhile, you can't go home and interact with that person appropriately. So you kind of give your self some freedom there, and that's to me is the healing aspect. But the protective aspect is if we're not constantly interacting so that other people can behave a certain way, um, it protects us um, from having to become God pretty much. Like I don't need to be somebody else's punisher or like shaper, right? Because that's such a heavy burden because none of us are done like becoming, right? So
Yeah,
it
yeah,
protects us a whole lot from having to have that burden as well. And so it's a healing thing and a situation, I think, where it protects us as well.
yeah. Uh, we have a comment here, Claire coming in from Facebook, and just wanted to shout her out and everyone that's in here. I appreciate you all, and I just
We
wanted to
do.
say yeah, we're both very fortunate that we're lucky enough to have you guys in here and listen to what we have to say, and gracious, and we appreciate all of the comments and just joining in. We're just very grateful for all of you, and just
Yeah.
wanted to say that. But
Yeah.
uh, when it comes to and I'll speak a lot from my personal journey and the things that I've learned in healing yet protecting myself as well is uh asking myself, well, what am I feeding during this process?
Mhm.
If perhaps I have to distance myself, or I feel I ought to distance myself for a duration of time with a certain person or with people or with an energy or whatever a situation, whatever it is, um am I doing it to am I feeding any kind of negativity or
Mhm.
revenge in doing so, right? uh am I doing it with love,
Mhm.
or am I doing it, what place am I doing it from,
Right.
right, in the healing? And then in doing those things, also being very aware to not guilt myself, and giving myself the ability to not judge myself, and unconditionally love myself, and others or whoever it may be that we may have to temporarily, right? And it's
Mhm.
it's kind of like, well, I'm doing this now, and it's not like I hate this person and I'm open to forgiving them. However, right now, maybe we just I require some healthy space because
Mhm.
I have work to do here and here, and when I'm ready, I'm ready for it. Or when it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Your heart is still open, so then you don't allow those situations to uh, you know create something inside of you that's not good for you. Part of that negative, that dark, we talk about a lot, right? The darkness. And it accumulate over time, and it stays there, and it just molds and transforms into bitterness or hopelessness or whatever it may be.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's useful. And those thoughts really help for I think for me and everybody listening, like it helps for us to really be able to do a different thing in our life that will mean that we're not doing the same kind of patterns, right? Of constantly like trying to punish others. And people, I know a lot of times when I first say that to people, they can't stand that I am I say that you're trying to punish somebody because that's not really the way that we would narrate it. We just say we don't forgive them or somehow, they hurt us.
Mhm.
So there are a couple of habits that keep resentment from returning. Let's talk about that. But there's a comment I see. It looks like Claire says, "I'm finding it so hard to forgive." Right. And I do. I think that is the challenge is getting to a place where we can do it. It's not an easy thing, and that's why we got to stay in the gym about it. Right. We got to constantly exercise it until it becomes something. There's a saying that that I use in coaching, and I guess I use it in counseling as well, which is um, in pressure scenarios or in hurtful situations, when things get difficult, we resort to our deeply held habits, right? And so sometimes our deeply held habits are mean like we're not able to let go in a way of forgiveness, right? And that's not to like mark a bad thing. That's just to acknowledge that like when my habit starts becoming something else, then it'll be replaced. And I actually want to give three things that I think will help Claire and others to eventually get to a place where it becomes easier instead of more challenging. And the first one is focus. So where you focus creates how you feel. And that's really important because if I focus on the things that were done to me and who's doing it and how they did it, then it's going to create a certain feeling. If I focus on where I want to be and what I'm trying to create in my life, that's going to create a different feeling. So just our focus change creates what we're able to see. And a lot of times I put my hand on the screen where I say, like, that creates a different focus for us than this. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Right. And so it's really important for us to learn how and get better at focusing. That's the first one. The second one is compassion. The first person we have to have compassion for is for ourselves. We are causing a lot of suffering by not being able to figure out how to forgive and get to that place. That's the first thing. But along with the idea of focus, um, compassion gives us the ability to see the hurt side of people's interactions that are hurtful to us.
Mm.
So if somebody does something, it's less about them really doing something to us and more about that they haven't dealt with their things. And that compassion changes at least how I feel, and depending on the circumstance, it can get that can help things get a little bit easier. And the last thing is gratitude. I remember this story. It's actually it comes from the Bible, but um, um, it still is a good story no matter what. Like there's a young lady who gets tossed out of her house with a baby. Her name is Hagar, which is Ishmael. And this is after this was after she was made to have a child with I believe it was Abraham, and she got tossed out, and she's crying and upset about her situation, and then an angel appears to her, and the angel says like, what are you crying for? And she's like, my baby has no, it's just me and my baby, and there's no water, and I don't have a way to feed him. And the angel pretty much says like, open your eyes, like see what there is. And right there, like there is like water right there. And it's a matter of being able to see. And it wasn't a matter of like that the situation wasn't hard, but it's just being able to see what's in front of us versus what just happened to us, right? And so that story is so useful because I think it gets us to look at being able to look forward and find gratitude as a practice that really says, okay, let me just look at the things that I do have versus the things that I don't have. Or let me look at the things that are going right versus the things that are going wrong.
Yep.
And that's not the absolute solution today, but if we can practice those three things, compassion, focus, and gratitude, it flips everything. Everything changes, right? And forgiveness gets a lot easier because those to me are the three things that uphold forgiveness in the way that we're going to get to it. Okay. I hope that's helpful.
Forgiveness is a yeah, and I like those tips right there are just just like if you simplify it all and you focus, on those. I mean, that's just it shifts everything, and the more you can continue to shift, and it compounds over time, and you get different outcomes in your life.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
being aware that where the attention goes, the energy flows.
So true.
you
So
know,
true. Yeah.
and really focusing that energy and those thoughts and feelings. Yeah. And we focus so much on what it's not that we forget about what it is.
Mhm.
We focus on what we don't have and not enough on what we do have, and that's can sound very generic.
Yeah.
Count your blessings, be grateful, and it's kind of like when you're in that state, though, a lower state. It's kind of,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah. For
But
sure.
maybe perhaps think of it like this: if you're worried about your outcome, is realizing that you're maybe hoping for a miracle or something, but you are the miracle. You yourself are the miracle, created by a miracle, right? Some kind of miracle energy, right?
Mhm.
Uh, but with whatever outcome it is, where you're at in your life, what you're hoping for, what you want to accomplish, realize everything that you have accomplished right now, and all of the dreams that you had before, you made those dreams come true.
Mhm.
Where you're at right now as actually a dream come true in other aspects, maybe not in some aspects of our life, right? But think about recount all of the things you've been through before
Yeah.
and where you're at now.
Yeah.
You've always been strong. You've
Mhm.
always known what to do,
Yeah.
but we doubt that we do. And so, also recounting, having the gratitude of and reminding ourselves of how grateful we are of our own personal character to get through these moments and reach those outcomes, to get us where we want to get to.
Absolutely. Love it. All right. Let's do our red flag or real talk.
Oh, all right. Let's shake it up. All right. Let me stretch a little bit and get ready for this one. All right, let's go. By the way,
Forgiveness.
if you guys,
This. Yeah. Go ahead.
Claire says, thank you so much. You're very welcome. Uh,
Hmm.
if you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them. But yes, let's do it. I'm ready
Yeah.
for it. Let's go.
So
Bring
this
it.
is
Mm. Mr. Castro. Hmm. I don't know what happened over there, but I don't know if you froze. What's going on? I don't know if I froze. Somebody drop in the comment section if you guys can see me or what's going on, because I don't know. Let me somebody drop in the comment section and let me know what's going on here. Am I just frozen? Am I we both frozen? Is is it just he's okay? So I'll just start telling some jokes here until he gets in or taking some questions. Yeah, there you go. So I'm not sure what happened with Mr. Castro here. Maybe I'll start. Oh, cool beans. Yep, there you guys go. Appreciate you for letting me know. But so what we were going to do is red flag or real talk. Is it red flag as to where you got to walk away from when they do that, or is it real talk as to where it's something you can get through, right? And so one of the scenarios is you say you forgive, but you keep replaying the story. You keep bringing it up, but you say you've forgiven. So I don't know. You guys tell me, right? Since Mr. Castro isn't here, you guys tell me. Does that mean you really forgive? If you say you forgive, but yet you keep replaying the story, you keep explaining it, right? And so let me know what you guys think about that one, right? Because for me, if, when you keep continue to speak on things, those are thoughts out loud. And so if it continues to go on in here, or it's continuing to go on here, then that means it's continuing to go on here. And why that is more than likely because there is something that we have not figured out, and our brain is continually working towards something, a solution or an answer. Something still doesn't add up to us, something still does not make sense. So it would be at that point, so where yeah, there may not be fully forgiven. There may still, bring things up. Yep. And continuing to bring it up. And it's not easy, Claire. Yeah, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. Yep, that's true. Cool beans. Yep. And so, info on the free member group. Yep. Okay. And so, going back to forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. That's exactly true. And what a lot of my clients who go through betrayal, go through that a lot. You know, how am I ever going to forget this? I want to forget this. And so, what I help them with, and maybe I suggest to them, is that, well, when you are trying to do something that's perhaps impossible to forget all of those things, then maybe you're setting yourself up for not the best outcome. And so maybe perhaps, working our way there in other ways. Okay. Hold on. I see. Hmm. Trying to get Mr. Castro back in here. What's going on? Hope he's well. I don't know what's going on over there. Maybe you're gonna need to charge your phone up. All right. Get your phone on the charge. I don't know what it is. But yeah. And so let's continue to go on. So, where's another one? Let's see another one for you guys. Oh, maybe we only have one. Oh, here's one. You block them, but still check their profile. You pray for them, but deep down, you want them to struggle. Let's talk about that one. You pray for them, but deep down, you want them to struggle. I mean, obviously, for me, I don't know. Obviously, that means you haven't truly forgiven. Because, so again, here's me in my personal experience. And when it comes to forgiveness, what I did one time when the woman I was with left me for her ex, and rightfully so, I'm not, blaming her for that, but being happy for that person and them when I'm heartbroken and depressed and all this, in that moment, I remember going, you know what? Like, I'm not going to stay here stuck and angry and feeling sad and sorry for myself while they're over there being happy. And they found each other. Great. I'm glad, I'm happy for you. Meanwhile, me, I'm bitter and I'm feeling sorry for myself and I'm angry. No. You know what? I forgive you. I'm happy for you. Mm? I'm happy for you. Wasn't easy at first, no. But I remember during that process, I remember there was a certain level of empowerment that was being developed in my life going through that. And I realized that I could forgive. I realized that I could do that with enough love, not with enough force, but with enough love. And that's something you find within yourself. And everybody does it their own ways, right? But I figured if I could be happy for that person, then that means I could truly forgive them. And from what I've learned is that what you hope and want for others, you actually just get for yourself. If you want not good things to happen to others, you wish for and want for and foresee not good things happening to others, maybe those not good things will happen to you. You get those things that you want for others. So, uh, go into the comments, Henry. Thought provoking. Keep it up, Michael. Hey, I appreciate that, Henry. I really do. I appreciate you all so very much. Thank you. And so shall I. I don't think I'll ever be the same person again, Claire says. Heidi says, I don't think I have forgiven. I'm so hurt. I don't know what it means to forgive. How do I do that? So going back to Claire, and let me see if there's any more other. Okay, so going back to Claire, I don't think I'll ever be the same person again. Good. I'm glad you realize that. Now take ownership of that because you are not the same person and you will never be that same person again. But that does not mean you can't become another person. You, whether you know it or not, whether we realize it or not, we are always becoming. We are always becoming something. We are always becoming someone. But who and what are you becoming? Have you identified who and what you are to become? Because if our what we want to accomplish is learning to forgive, then maybe it's becoming becoming the person of forgiveness, becoming a person who can forgive. Right? So become the person that can find their peace, maybe without their closure. Maybe you decide now that you are the kind of person that creates their own closure and no longer requires anyone else's closure. Or maybe you're the type of person now you can forgive without that other person even being sorry for what they've done. Hey, I'm just throwing that out there, right? This is just all ideas, right? But these are all things that I've personally been through and, you know, went processed and learned and, experienced in my life. I've been there, you guys, multiple, so many times. I don't think I've forgiven. I'm so hurt. I don't even know what it means to forgive. How do I do that? Define what forgiveness means. Start there. What does forgiveness mean? Does it mean that what you did to me was okay? And I'm just a chump. I'm just this and that. I'm just dumb and I'm all of these things. Is it that? Right? What does forgiveness mean? So you define that. So is forgiveness this? Is forgiveness truly making peace with what has happened, with what you've done, with how that made me feel, with what that made me do? And I don't blame you anymore. That's a big part of it. I'm choosing to no longer blame you for how I feel. That's how I'm going to forgive you. And it takes a certain amount of will. You got to use these, but for right here and here, you can do it. But define what that means to you. Nonetheless, who you are becoming, right? Heidi, Claire, everyone in here. Who are you becoming? Become that person. You don't fake it until you make it. You be it until you become it. But identify who exactly that person is, what they do, how they think, how they feel, how they react, how they respond, what they don't do, where they go, where they don't go, how they forgive, and what forgiveness means to that person, to you, the person that you've become. Whoa, you've become someone. Tomorrow you will continue to become. But if you do not decide who and how you are to become, it shall be decided for you, whether you like it or you don't. You are an infinite creator and you are creating constantly, whether you like it or you don't. But the question is, what are you creating? Okay. I just realized I don't think Mr. Castro's coming back. I'm gonna give him a call in a little bit. Let me get back to the comment section. Cool Beans says that's a good point. You reap what you sow. Yeah, you really do. I never want to be the same person. I want to be better. For the old self to die. Yeah, the one that was betrayed and the one who did the betraying. Both versions of myself can become new. Yeah. Claire says, "Thank you. You're very welcome." Hmm. But becoming, yeah. So that old person, it's pretty crazy on my journey. Like I remember being sad almost at the person that I had to let go of, the me that was there for me, the me that's been there through all of those times with me, and deciding that, Michael, man, like I have to let you go. It's like you're my best friend, but like you're toxic for my life now, man. It's like I love you, man. I forgive you. Like, see, even forgiving yourself. I remember woo, forgiving yourself. That's a journey right there, all in its own. But you know, turning around and focusing on forgiving yourself is very important. That's something all on its own right there. Claire says, it's the horrible visions and thoughts of what they did. My heart is broken. Oh, wow. Heidi says, wow, that's deep. It makes sense. So I need to stop saying I'm broken and look inside myself and not hope and dream he fixes the pain. Checking over here on the other comments here. Okay. Uh, net 86 showing up that one right there. Appreciate you so very much. I appreciate all of you so very much. Thank you for listening. Uh, so, the horrible visions and the thoughts of what they did, remember that your brain and body have programmed those things into you to protect you right now. And they are all just suggestions. And it's like a movie is playing on repeat, and your body's just doing that automatically. It even knows when you feel lonely and what time and how you sit, what you watch, what you hear, what you do to release uh, hormones into your body, chemicals into your body to feel sad and alone, right? And so then it is a reprogramming process. So let's remove the emotion if we can, if it's okay, if it's okay, and just think of ourselves as programs or systems, right? It's a matter of reprogramming the system, but we think that uh, it's like all of this has to happen, all of these things have to happen in order for me to find my peace. Well, from my experience, the peace is within. It always is. And it's finding it within, going within and finding it within. Claire, your heart is still beating. It has to be. You're still typing. It's not broken. Feels that way. And uh, need to stop saying I'm broken. Yeah, because you realize that your brain. So again, let's take the emotion out of it and realize that your brain and body are programs. And when each time you say I'm broken, your brain then processes that. Okay, so then what does that mean for Heidi? She's broken. Okay, so she's heartbroken. So that must mean she's sad and she's depressed and she's hopeless and there's no way she can be happy. So then let's make sure that she feels that, because your body takes those as commands, right? But you don't just command it once. You continue to command. Is it okay if I just wipe my nose here? Oh, me. I'm going on here. Getting cold over here. It's gonna start snowing. I'm close to Tahoe, so I left the window open. Starting to get a little. Excuse me. Sorry. My apologies if that was rude right there. But um, Lisa here. Let me keep up with the comments. Lisa says, "Do you consider consider a husband hiding text messages or conversations with a female coworker is cheating?" Yes, definitely, 100%, absolutely. Okay, that is not okay, because you have to hide it. Well, then something's obviously going on there, right? And so even cheating, when we want to talk about cheating, right? Like, what is cheating? People go, well, I don't cheat unless I physically do something with this person. We never did anything though. Well, that's not so we want to talk about like physically sleeping with another person while you're married. That's adultery, right? Infidelity, affair, let's get all these things accurate here, like what that means. So, asking that's cheating, definitely 111%. Uh, I'm so cool. Breen says, I'm sad at the person that I was. And when I see old habits peek through like defensiveness, it hurts me. As the betrayer, how do I help my spouse when he has those thoughts and visions? I'm sad at the person that I was. And when I see those old habits peek through like defensiveness, it hurts me. Okay. So realize that the defensiveness you have with your partner is the defensiveness you have with yourself. Okay. Because you have not forgiven yourself, possibly. Right. And so if you're sad at the person that you were, realize that too, that you're always going to be you. You're always going to be you. So that's just a part of you that you were, but still lives, perhaps, right? And so maybe it's forgiving that person and not being sad for that person and being compassionate for that person and forgiving that person. I remember that's how I used to speak with myself for so long. A thought would come up of the things that I've done in my past. And I'll say, Michael, you're such a this and that. You're so stupid. You're such an idiot. I can't believe you did that. Oh, I can't stand you. And then I realized that if I wanted to forgive myself, I had to say it. Sometimes we can't even say, like, I forgive you. And so in those moments, I would say, no, Michael, you know what? We're not going to do that anymore. I forgive you. I love you and I forgive you. I forgive who you were. And beginning to work towards making peace with the past and even the past self, right? And so the defensiveness, so perhaps, the defensiveness, if you want to correct that and no longer hurt your partner, then it's forgiving yourself. And that's going to take you becoming another person, becoming another version. hmm And when they're having those thoughts and those visions, it is just you. It's like you sitting there next to them, and it's like, okay, we're going through this right now. We're both feeling this way right now. And I'm not going to try to convince you otherwise. I'm not going to try to make myself look good. I'm not going to try to enforce my own agenda. I'm just going to be here and do this with you. And if you're sitting there and you're sad and there's nothing I can do, I'm going to sit here and be sad with you then. That is being understanding and compassionate in those moments and letting go of our own desires or wants or expectations. If your husband apologizes for betraying you, even though all you know about, so hidden conversations, how do you forgive that person if you want to save your marriage? If your husband apologizes for betraying you, even though all you know about, there's hidden things, Lisa, that he doesn't, you know things that he doesn't know that you know, and he's apologizing for those things, and while he's still holding back. Is that what's going on? I ruined his life in 17 years. Cool beans. Realize that everybody has their own journey and their own uh, right to do what they want with what happens in their life. And even though we do these things to other people and cause them all this turmoil and hurt and pain, but they are a being with a consciousness, and not to take away from anything, but you don't ruin anyone's life until they decide that you have, and that is even blame too. Taking accountability. And so for me, that's something that I learned on my journey, is that no matter what, with love, I don't blame myself, but I take accountability for it. If my life is a certain way, even if a person is treating me a certain way, somehow let me see what I'm doing that led to that, without blaming yourself, continuing to still love and support yourself. But forgiveness, Claire says, amazing. Yes, I appreciate that so very much. Means a lot. I really needed this. Thank you. You're very welcome. I tell him it was something broken in me that cheated, something broken. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. And finding out exactly what that was and healing it. What was it that was broken? Why was it broken? Let us go back and fix disconnects. And maybe we don't say broken. Let's maybe stop saying broken, right? Maybe say just something disconnected. Think I have to work on the forgiving and making peace with his emotional affairs. I've cried for almost a year straight and it's gotten me nowhere. I've got to get myself together. You are together. That's how you get yourself together, is realizing that you are together now. You are together. For the rest of the day, be together. Allow yourself to be together. What is together? Everything that is together, do that now. How does it feel to be together? Practice right. I just want you to do something right now and show you a trick. Okay. Heidi, I'll show you this right here. I want you to pretend that you're together, yourself is together, and you're happy and you're excited, and you have tremendous, amazing news for me. And I want you to call me up, and I want you to act excited about it and happy and peaceful. I want you to tell me a story about, I have it together now, and this is happening now, and that's happening now. And oh man, it feels freaking amazing how it is like that. And just, I got everything together now. Okay. Say, hey, coach, guess what? Hey, go ahead, go. Coach, guess what? What is it? Really? What? That's amazing. Oh, wow. That's incredible. Man, I'm so proud of you. That's amazing. You're together. You're finally together. You did it. You did it. Okay. Now, if you're actually putting your attention and playing along here, you should feel a little bit better. You should go, "Yeah, you know what, that was cool. Actually, all right. It felt a little bit good. But it's not real. It is real. How you feel is real. And you created that feeling all on your own. And anytime you want, you can create that feeling. See? Anytime you want, you can become that person. But it isn't until you decide that you are that person to where you will become that person. And it is a becoming process. But decide now. Decide now. Right? Um, my boyfriend always cheats. Yep. And so it's what are we going to do? You know? Uh, what's going to happen with that? What are we to do with that? And whatever you want to do, I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but find what it is to do. Find what it is because here's this right here, and I'll just speak on things that I've learned is that people will treat you really how you train them to. And when we put up boundaries, uh, when people cross them and they continue to cross them, we've then given them the notion of the idea that they can treat us that way and continue to treat us that way, and we're going to continue to be there. And I'm all for being compassionate and forgiving. But at the same time, when it comes to a relationship, the relationship that you have with another person is when it becomes then damaging to the relationship that you have with yourself. Um, and there is a lot for compassion when people have their issues and you see them and they're going through their issues and you're there and you're understanding and yes, uh, but to a certain degree sometimes we allow people to continue to do this. We allow it. So we take accountability in those moments and go, okay, I'm allowing this with all the love, with all of the self-love. Perhaps I'm allowing this. You get to a certain point. I'm not saying you are. I'm not judging anything. I don't know anything. I know nothing. I'm just a man who just made a lot of mistakes, you know. But you get to that point where you've decided it's enough, or you decide that because here's this: a lot of people continue to do the same and expect a different outcome. Well, so if you want a different outcome, then why would you continue to do the same thing if the same things continue to happen? But a lot of the times we are afraid. I'm not saying that you are or any of you are, but we become afraid that if we do that, then we're going to be alone. They're going to leave. Maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we're being too sensitive. Maybe we're being too weak. And so we don't speak. But sooner or later, we got to let the conversation leak. Oh man, we're getting to the end of the week. If I lied, gaslight, pretended to, yep. If I lied, gaslit, pretended to love him when I was cheating 3 kids later, there is no good way out. If that's what you conclude, if there is no good way out, so shall it be. That is the command. And it's not taking that away. It feels that way. It very much feels that way. But when you decide there is a way out, then there will be. When you decide there is no way out, there is no good outcome, then so shall there be. There is a good outcome. Sometimes we search for it. It's a journey. It's a expedition. You'll find it. You'll find it. Heidi says it makes so much sense. I'm waiting for him to fix my pain, but he can't. I need to focus less on the why, etc., and focus on how much better we are. Yeah. Focus is very important. Can you focus, even in life? Can you focus? Stay focused. Stay focused. Refocus. And what you are focusing on? Are we actually focusing on the right things? Sometimes our focus can get pulled instead of put. And so it gets pulled towards these other things. We think a thought about that person we're upset with, and then we start thinking these other things about them. And yeah, they're probably doing this. And you see them doing that. And you see this scenario that's never happened before unfold in your head with you and that person in a certain interaction unfold. You're like, oh my God, yeah, I could see them doing that. Just it just right. So then it becomes a matter of training, retraining your brain to focus, not stepping in and going, perhaps, okay, let me begin to start focusing my attention. All right, let me first see if I can focus my attention. Let me first focus my attention for 30 seconds straight on dinosaurs. Let me close my eyes for 15 seconds and see if I can picture one thing and not picture anything else. you know Trainings like that, just try that. Start there, but you'll get there. And you guys are all very welcome, and I appreciate all of the love and support. Thank you guys. How I feel, yep. Oh yeah, one quick thought snowballs. Right. It turns into an avalanche that we will be at the bottom to crush us. Don't know. I love him, so I don't leave. Yeah. Yep. And so I appreciate the vulnerability. That's a lot to say. Uh, and It's your journey. It's up to you. You're not wrong for staying. It's you, your family, it's your life, it's your thing. But I would suggest, if you are going to stay, be strategic about it. Be strategic about it. Okay. But we are wrapping up for today. I don't see any more comments coming in. If I missed any, I apologize. Maybe come in on next time. Next week, same day, same time. Come on in. We'll have you in, and hopefully, I'm not sure, but what I think happened with Mr. Castro is he was, well, I mean, I'm looking on here, and it seems as if probably he's abducted, right? He's abducted by aliens at this point. I think. I think that's my most logical explanation for why Mr. Castro cut out, and he's not entered again. I don't see a text from him, and so I don't. Yeah, I believe it's his phone. And so, but yeah, uh, you're all very welcome. Yes, Heidi, Claire, Cool Beans, Marisol, everybody, net 10x the love. I appreciate all of you so freaking very much. And thank you for listening. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Okay. Bye, you guys.